We are going to start the press conference by Minister IWAYA. Thank you very much. First, yesterday, we received the news of a passing away of Pope Francis. Since 2013, Pope Francis has served as the Pope and has made great efforts to promote environmental protection and peace diplomacy with his strong power of communication. I'd like to express my deepest condolences and respect for the achievements of His Holiness Francis. Next is about the Expo diplomacy. From April 22 to 27, to participate in the Osaka Kansai Expo, Foreign Minister Cassis from Switzerland, Foreign Minister Rasmussen from Denmark, and Foreign Minister Andre from Costa Rica will be visiting Japan. I'm scheduled to hold meetings with them this week. Last year, Switzerland and Japan celebrated the 160th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations. His Majesty King Frederick X of Denmark will be visiting Japan this time. Costa Rica celebrates the 90th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations with Japan this year. These countries are important partners to our country, sharing values and principles. Through these meetings, I will work to strengthen our bilateral relations with these countries. I also intend to discuss regional situations and issues facing the international community. So that is all from me at the outset.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. If you are designated, please proceed to the nearest microphone and ask a question after identifying your name and affiliation. Yomiuri Shimbun, Kamimura-san. Yomiuri, Kamimura. Yesterday, the newly appointed Ambassador Glass and you met, and what is your candid view or impression of the ambassador? And at the confirmation hearing, the ambassador said that he plans to ask Japan to increase the burden on the U.S. forces in Japan, and he wants to make requests to Japan on both security and economic areas. How would you like to face Ambassador Glass? Yesterday, as you pointed out, I received a courtesy call by U.S. Ambassador designate Japan, George Glass. Actually, it was the second time I met Ambassador Glass in January at the presidential inauguration ceremony I attended. At the celebratory event that evening, I met Mr. and Mrs. Glass, or Ambassador Glass and his wife. And if he were to come to Japan as ambassador, he has a son and family members. So he said that he is very much looking forward to visiting Japan. That's what he said back then. I'm very happy that was realized. He is an extremely approachable person. And as I mentioned, he cherishes his family very much. And at the same time, he treasures a relationship of trust with people. That's the impression that I've had. Prior to that, he was ambassador to Portugal, and he is trusted by embassy staff and members. So at yesterday's courtesy visit, we exchanged views on various initiatives of the Japan-U.S. security and defense cooperation initiatives to enhance Japan-U.S. alliance deterrence and response capabilities and Japan-U.S. relationship, including tariff measures of the U.S. And I would like to continue telling Japan's stance about security and economic affairs, and we want to enhance cooperation closely to enhance Japan-U.S. alliance and Japan-U.S. economic relations. As for securities, it was the first time, so we talked extensively. But as for the details further, since it's a diplomatic matters, I would like to refrain from mentioning that. As for the host nation support to enhance alliance, based on the Japan-U.S. government agreement, appropriate sharing has been done. The conclusion of the agreement comes in 2 years' time. So basically, the year after next, at the appropriate track, we want to engage in thorough discussion. And as to the appropriate burden of Japan's side, we want to continuously consider this.
Next question, Sakaguchi-san from Kyodo Tsushin. I'm Sakaguchi from Kyodo Tsushin. My question is about Defense Secretary Hegseth. Because of very loose information control, there is information by the U.S. media that White House started to select his successor, and dismissal is being considered. Under the tariff negotiations, President Trump seems to be referring to the defense expenses. So in terms of Japanese security, how will his dismissal impact? I'm aware of a press report you have mentioned, but at the moment, I refrain from answering the question. Japan-U.S. alliance is the basis of diplomacy and security policy of Japan. Japan is considering measures to strengthen our deterrence capability and response capability by ourselves, and we will continue to steadily strengthen our defense capability and further strengthen our deterrence and response capability based on Japan-U.S. alliance, and we will continue to have close relations. Secretary Hegseth has just visited Japan, and he met Prime Minister Ishiba and also has met the Minister Nakatani, and they had communication. So we'll keep watching the movements in the U.S., but between Japan and the U.S., we will continue to have close cooperation going forward.
Next question, Asahi Shimbun, Kato-san. Asahi Shimbun, Kato. So Southeast Asian countries will receive impact from the U.S. tariff measures. And the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping concluded the three-country visit in Southeast Asian countries. And there was a telephone call, and 2+2 was conducted for the first time. And bearing in mind of President Trump government, it seems that China is enhancing the diplomatic attack. And what is your take? And given the current situation, what kind of diplomatic relationship does Japan want to aim for with Vietnam and Malaysia? As to the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping's visit overseas that you pointed out, as well as the Foreign Minister Wang Yi's activities, Japanese government is watching the situation with interest. But regardless of the move by China, for Japan, the enhancing relationship with Southeast Asia, which is the growth center of the world, is very important. Southeast Asia is a cornerstone to realize a free and open Indo-Pacific based on rule of law, and Southeast Asia diplomacy is one of the priority area for Japan. As to the summit telephone talk with Malaysia and Singapore, Prime Minister Ishiba said that the current situation may give a direct impact to Japanese businesses who contribute to local economy, who make inroad in Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries. So there was a message to hear the voices of South Asian countries. So continuously with countries of Southeast Asia, in order to maintain and enhance free and open international order, as well as the multilateral free trade regime, including the summit and the foreign ministerial level, we want to continue to have close coordination.
Next question, Kamimura-san from Yomiuri Shimbun. I'm Kamimura from Yomiuri Shimbun. I have a question about China. In Xinjiang in September, there was a case where a Japanese child was killed and the Chinese person, the criminal, I understand, was executed. Including the date of execution, has there been any explanation from the Chinese government to the Japanese government? And the background of the case, or the motive, the details, has there been any explanation on top of the judgment? What's your interpretation of his execution? On the 21st of April, the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs communicated to the Japanese embassy in China with regards to the case that happened in Xinjiang, that Chun Chun, who was sentenced to death penalty for murder, was executed. From China, this time the only information we received is about the execution itself. As for the date of the execution, this is now under confirmation. The Japanese government believes it is unpermissible that killing an innocent child is unpermissible, and we solemnly interpret this execution. Securing the safety of Japanese people traveling or living abroad is one of the most important responsibilities of a government. As the Japanese government, based on this case, we will take our utmost measures to secure the safety of Japanese people, and we will strongly request China to secure the safety of the Japanese nationals.
No other questions? We would like to conclude today's press conference. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.